Good afternoon. I'm Brad Klaus, CEO of Extol. At Extol, we have a social marketing platform that's a suite of software as a service applications. Our whole goal is to help our clients turn their customers into brand enthusiasts and social marketers on their behalf. So I thought what I'd do today is share a little bit of information on what we see as the overall challenge within the market, what we see as the overall opportunity, but then actually share 3 or 4 specific case studies on how you can leverage your customers to harness positive word of mouth, get it out into social networks, and take advantage of that and benefit from that. I think Mike did a good job of kind of commenting and giving a couple of case studies on, how you use the Delta example was, a positive word of mouth tweet that went out about the brand that gets exposure and obviously helps build the brand. The Harry Potter example I thought was really cool as well. How do you identify your advocates and make them social marketers so that you can get a bunch of reach out there? So we'll talk a little bit about that. Then Eric came up and talked about how you leverage all of that positive word of mouth goodness within customer service and retention efforts, for example. But the question that I hope to answer a little bit today is how do you drive that positive word of mouth from within your customer base and propagate it out through the social channels? So we at Extol believe that there's actually a fundamental shift occurring in the way that brands are marketing customers, or they should be shifting. In the past, it was all about brand-created content or paid media that was being driven into your customer or prospect base. Now what's happening, though, is there's a customer-generated world. So we tend to think that it's a crowdsourced world out there if you do it right now. If you can create earned media from your customers and propagate that out through social networks, you're going to get a lot of value back to your brand. So one of the key things that we hear from our clients quite a bit is, geez, I've been doing Google SEM for a while and I just can't, cost effectively grow my business in that space. How do I get my reach out to more people? And we think a great way of doing that is the crowdsourced or customer-generated way. And so the 3 channels of media that exist today, many of you probably know of 2 and are active in 2. Well, let me actually take a quiz. How many of you are online marketers that have a website and you're driving traffic to that website? Okay. How many of you are actually paying, doing search, display, those types of advertising, paid vehicles to do so? How many of you are asking your customers to drive their friends back to your website, for example, in an effective way? So there's a handful. We think that that's the real benefit of social networking and the real opportunity with the social space in general. So the way we look at it is that you have brand-owned assets that many companies have accumulated ever since the day that .com sites began to exist. And those brand assets are your brand site, your email list, even your Facebook page. And what we like to, and so a lot of companies then buy media to try to drive prospects and customers back to those brand-owned sites. We think there's an opportunity to actually leverage those assets within the social networks to create what we call earned media. And what does earned media mean? It's all of the examples that we heard earlier about a positive tweet, a share, a like, videos, photos. How do you get that out from your customers into the hands of their friends on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, so that they can see the positive reaction about your brand? And that's some of the case studies that I'll share with you today. And why is that important? Because more than ever now, you can have 7 bloggers from Harry Potter and get to, what was it, 230 million? 350 million people, right? And the reason that you can do that these days is because of the reach of social networks. So on average, and this is, I think, a little bit old, every one of your customers on average has 130 friends on Facebook. If you get them to say one or many positive things about your brand on Facebook, you've got to reach to potentially 130 people there. Now you multiply that effect and you get the kind of the Harry Potter effect that we were talking about earlier. So that's why it's important to generate earned media, and that's why it's important to leverage the social networks to get the earned media out. And so what we like to do at Extol is turn customers into social marketers. Our tagline is your best prospects are your best customers' friends. So how do we get to your best customers' friends and turn them into customers on your behalf? By activating your existing customer base, further engaging them to refer their friends back to the brand, and then measuring all of that activity. So I'd like to give 4 case studies today on scenarios where we've either leverage solutions to identify brand advocates and engage them, or in many cases actually then take the viral component and get them to refer your brand, or in this case the brands I'm about to show you, to their friends to generate real transactions and revenue. The first case study I'm going to explain is a social referral program. So we've heard a lot today around how do I get, there were a lot of positive examples from Yahoo around, I think your first slide, there are happy Yahoo customers out there. And then you talked a little bit about some of the negative responses and how you turned them. But the reality is everybody in this room probably has happy customers as well. How do you turn those happy customers into advocates on behalf of your brand? We think the best way to do it right now and market is a social referral program. So I'll talk a little bit about a company by the name of Redbox. Redbox is if you don't know Redbox, they stream video online much like Netflix does, but they also have the DVD kiosks in grocery stores. They have about 27 million customers and turned to us to help power a social referral program. Their objective was to basically engage their advocates to share a Redbox offer with their friends, convert those friends into new customers using a special offer, and increase positive social recommendations on Facebook and Twitter. Relatively straightforward objectives, and we'll tell you how they did it. The solution was we actually went to them and we said, you have 27 million customers. Who are your best customers, though? Take a look at the order history and tell us who your best customers are. They came back with 800,000 advocates or best customers, and we used those 800,000 to try to propagate, to try to turn them into brand advocates through the social networks. To do so, we created a unique personal URL, and I'll show you slides on how this all worked here after this slide, that was specific to each of the 800,000 advocates that made it dead simple for them to share the Redbox brand, and I'll show you how that worked. And then finally, there's always an ongoing referral opportunity. Anytime somebody orders from you, you should be asking them to refer their friends. Anytime they log into your account login screen to change their credit card information or shipping information or tracking order history, you should ask them to refer you on Facebook, Twitter, or via email. And so an ongoing program is also pretty important. So here's what we did with Redbox. You can see this is a little bit hard to see, but we actually took the 800,000 email addresses that they gave us, and the blue link that you see in the middle of the screen is a specific link. So we had 800,000 specific personal URLs for each individual. We sent an email out saying, look, if you refer your friends, you'll get a free DVD rental whenever they sign up to become a Redbox customer. And you can feel good about it because they'll get a free DVD rental as well. And all we're asking of you is to share this basic message in your brand affinity for Redbox using this link. You can take this link, post it to Facebook, post it to Twitter, IM it, shoot it off to an email to your friends. Every time one of your friends sees the link and clicks on it, they'll be driven back to Redbox. If they order, we'll track all of that behavior, and we'll know if you drive one person, you get one free DVD rental. If you drive two free DVD rentals, and so forth. Relatively straightforward concept, but leveraging the advocates, it really had a big effect. And then at the same time, we actually, throughout their website, you can see here in the bottom right, we launched a systemic refer a friend program, so that anybody that was visiting them on their website in multiple placements could see a promotion that said earn free one-night rentals for referring your friends. If they clicked on it, they would then be driven to what we call a share page, which would allow them to write a recommendation, as you see in the lower left-hand box, and then with the quick click of a button, share on Facebook, share on Twitter, blog about it, or use email to send to their friends. So making it really simple, 2 steps, write a recommendation, share through the social networks. Some of the posts look like this, so they come back and you can see in the top, Beth Barnett wrote free Redbox rental today, used this promo code. We watched Tron this week, it was great, and her personal URL was right there. If any of her friends saw that on Facebook, clicked on it, they'd be driven to Redbox. Again, if they ordered, we track all of that behavior. So on behalf of Redbox, we're actually understanding who their advocates are, those that are willing to share, who their friends are, because they're entering in many cases their friends' information, which of their friends clicked, which of their friends ordered. So we're helping Redbox build out their brand social graph. But we're also helping them close deals and get a lot of positive word of mouth out there. So in this case, in the first 30 days of the program, we had 177,000 of those 800,000 advocates share. That generated 128,000 clicks from their friends back to the Redbox offer page. Almost, over 1,000 positive word of mouth Facebook posts per day, so 32,000 Facebook posts in total that generated 60,000 of those clicks. 5,000 positive Twitter posts, 10,000 of the friends became likers of Redbox. And ultimately, because of the offer structure, a lot of these people, we can't say the numbers because Redbox is publicly traded, but a lot of the 128,000 clicks resulted in real new customers from, that were friends of their best customers and was a real positive campaign. So again, these metrics are only in the first 30 days. Redbox is obviously a relatively large company. We've done this work anywhere from startup companies that know that they just want to get positive word of mouth out there about their brand, all the way up to Safeway, AAA Insurance, and larger brands. But the basic concept of a referral marketing program where you're asking your customers to refer your brand through the social networks is really compelling and really works. So another case study, how do you find those fans of yours and get them to like you on Facebook? There are a couple mechanisms that we've used. The next two case studies will talk about that. And then how do you engage those likers to also refer their friends to do the same? So this is actually a case study that we did with Steve's company, uBeauty. And uBeauty, if you don't know, is a very cool website. You should check it out, ubeauty.com. That's backed by Dr. Oz and Dr. Roizen, and is concentrated on helping people understand the science of beauty. Just launched, 6 weeks ago. And so as part of that launch, they also wanted to build their Facebook page out. And so we'll talk about how they did that. So the objective here was grow Facebook likes. Not only grow likes, but also create email opt-ins so that they could remarket not just via Facebook, but also via email, that I think is important. And then promote the launch of the new uBeauty website. So we have a sweepstakes application that we used, and the concept in this case that we used was a 6-week contest where I win, you win Facebook sweepstakes, and the call to action was like us on Facebook, enter email registration, and you'll be entered into a trip to, you'll have a chance to win a trip for 2 to meet Dr. Oz in New York City. And then we did some targeted Facebook ad spending against this so that we went out and found the right demographic of user that would be interested in the uBeauty site and targeted Facebook media spend so that people could see the call to action around the sweepstakes and click through to the sweepstakes. So here's how it worked. On the uBeauty Facebook page, we created an application that was relatively straightforward and simple. And the process is to enter the sweepstakes, you have to like uBeauty, then you have to fill out a first name, last name, email address, and opt in to be remarketed by uBeauty. And in this case, it was a co-promotion with L'Oreal. So you can see there were 2 checkboxes on the bottom. And so in a very simple kind of one-step process on Facebook, we were capturing likes, email opt-ins, and email opt-ins not just for uBeauty, but also for L'Oreal. And then like all of the applications that we have, our goal is to make it viral. So we had, once you're in, now invite your friends. And the basic call to action around that is if you invite friends and they use your link to enter the sweepstakes, you'll get multiple entries and your chances of winning go up. And so up pops a simple sharing kind of mechanism, and people can then post the sweepstakes call to action out to their wall. And again, on average, everybody has 130 friends, so you have an opportunity of having this seen by 130 people. And so the results were, in this case, again, it was a new site, so they only had 500 likes. In the first 6 weeks, we drove that to about 15,000 likes. The email database grew by 13,000. The L'Oreal email database grew by about 10,000. And on top of that, we collected just a ton of social insights. So I don't know how much you're familiar with the data that you could collect from Facebook, but if your customers are liking you and allowing permission to their data, it's very rich data, demographic information, age, gender, location, but also you can start to see what their top 10 likes are on Facebook. And so you can start to understand who your fans are and what interests them. And so in one campaign, just as a side note that we ran, not with uBeauty, we ran with a company called Motorcycle Superstore, about a $60 million online retailer of motorcycle parts. They determined that their fans were, the #1 interest across all their fans was Starbucks. And so they started running promotions and campaigns on their brand site around Starbucks. And I guess the notion is that if you're a biker, you're stopping in at Starbucks. And so they use some of that within their campaign material. So you really have an opportunity through Facebook to really understand who your fans are, and at a very deep level. So I think that's interesting as well. Then I'd like to give one more case study, and then I'll talk about some other things that we've done as well. This is a survey and sample promotion. So in this case, we were working with a brand called Strivectin. They had 15,000 samples that they wanted to distribute out to potentially new prospects. And so their goals were to establish Facebook presence, because they, again, had just launched their Facebook page and had less than 1,000 people, less than 1,000 fans at that point. Increase their fan base from 500, they wanted to get to 10,000 in a 90-day period, and we'll tell you how that worked. And then distribute 15,000 product samples out to potential new customers. And so we created a survey application that resulted in taking a sensitivity quiz on the Facebook page, and I'll show you what that looks like. With that, we captured a like, an email opt-in, and a physical address. We then gave a sample to those people that entered, and so we integrated directly into the fulfillment center and shipped samples out, and then we made it very viral. So I'll show you kind of how the process worked. So this is Strivectin's brand page. You can see on the lower left there, we created a new tab called Sensitivity Quiz. And the idea is basically like us, take the sensitivity quiz, give us your physical address, and you'll get a sample, then refer your friends. So the first step is like us. Second step is take a survey or a quiz. And so they were capturing very valuable information. If you can't see this, the questions are things like, is your skin red and blotchy, right? And so they can use this in further marketing campaigns to these individuals. So they're capturing a lot of very good data. And then at the end, they said, yep, you've got sensitive skin. Now give us a physical address. We'll send you a sample. We're sure Strivectin will work for you. And they were trying to convert samples into customers, obviously. But on top of that, they then made it viral. And so because it was a compelling quiz and because it was a compelling giveaway, a free sample, a lot of people shared on Facebook, Twitter, and other mechanisms and got the word out. And so in this campaign, what resulted was their likes grew from 500 to over 15,000. They gathered 15,000 surveys, emails, and physical addresses. They distributed 15,000 samples. They collected all that social insight information that I was referring to earlier, plus the survey fill out. And they were frantically calling us about the 44th hour of the campaign because we had already gone through the 15,000 samples. That's how viral this became. So again, it's a great demonstration of if you can come up with compelling content and make it viral through the social networks, you can get a broad reach. So here's a Facebook fan page that started with 500 likes and within 48 hours had 15,000 not only likes, but email opt-ins, physical addresses, and it distributed samples out to prospective customers. So those were the three case studies that I wanted to share today. I know we're probably the only thing keeping people from lunch, so I'll pause here. Other interesting ideas, if you're thinking about campaigns yourself, we think video is a really big opportunity. So getting your customers to take video testimonials on your behalf, and then uploading them to your Facebook gallery page, to your brand page, or to YouTube can make a lot of sense. Similarly to how Eric was mentioning they were doing it on a customer service basis, we think video has a lot of reach. And if you can get your customers not only to refer you on Facebook, but then to also take a video testimonial, that can be pretty compelling. And then the other thing to think about, I think, is group buying on the social network. So if you have a Facebook page and a Facebook presence, you can actually create cool campaigns like we do with some customers. For example, if we get 1,000 people to like this deal this week, we'll discount the price from $50 to $29. And what ends up happening there is in order to like the deal, you have to like the page. So I've got to like Strivectin, then I've got to like the Strivectin deal, and then I'm going to refer my friends to that because I want to get that to the 1,000 number so that the deal gets unlocked. So the group buying capabilities within the social networks are pretty cool as well. I'm Brad at extol.com or at Bradley Klaus on Twitter. And if you have any questions, let me know.